till I can fire you, until I go through the proper channels to fire your ass. So you never, ever wear that gun and badge again. Never. A woman, I don't care if she's alive or not. She obviously is alive. I don't care. You put the fire out, you idiots. You take your jacket off. Look, I counted 4 men. I said this in the vault. I did a thing on the vault today. And I said, in 34 seconds video, you're going to witness everything that is wrong with the United States of America. Everything. And if I swear to you, Brandon, if I hear one more person tell me, oh, America's great, America's the shiny city on the hill, I'm going to cave their skull in. They're so stupid. We're the #1 producer of pornography in the world. We're the #1 consumer of child pornography. We pay money to rape children at a rate higher than anyone else in the world. We consume more hard narcotics than any place in the world. We have absolute crime and degradation running through our nation. We are spent $8 trillion in wars that are fallacies, that we've blown up the Middle East and we're shocked that they hate us. We're in a war with Russia because we lost 19 biolabs in Ukraine. I mean, I could go on and on and on, Brandon. We need to stop, and we all need to look in the mirror and go, yep, we're the problem. I did this in my career, Brandon. I would bring in a supervisor or an agent and say, okay, listen, I have at least 8 different people complaining about you. They don't know each other. They don't know about the complaints. The common denominator is you. Even if I did 50% of those people are liars, still I have 4 people that have a problem with you. So when you look at America and you tie us to every single war or conflict on the globe, and then you say to yourself, well, we're not the problem. They're all liars. Oh, so everyone in the world is lying except America. And then you come and you see this degradation of humanity. And I'm irate. And then, but once I settle down and I start thinking through this logically, you know who I really want to really do some violence to and throw their ass in jail are all the politicians that let this man into the country. Do you know that he was deported in 2018 under President Trump? You know who was in the Border Patrol in 2018? Me. We had the most secure border in the history of America in 2020 into 2021 until this traitorous bastard came into the board and came into the office and obliterated the border. And now this illegal alien walks into our country. He is a savage. Do you know how many of these mentally retarded third world people that I arrested in my career? This guy, if I got $1 for every time I arrested one of these dumb savages that don't have 3 brain cells rattle around in their head, I would be a billionaire. A billionaire. They're endless. They're just like locusts. They just come and destroy everything in your path. And yes, I'm painting with a very broad brush because I did the job and I know who has come into our country, and they are third world savages. They're illiterate in their own language. They have no skills at all, and they just take, and take. And our nation is now in a moral rot because we have the most insane mental patients running our country.
Well, it's very well said. And I said to my wife last night, I said, they literally, some of these places, Venezuela, Guatemala, are releasing now their prisons, but they're mental hospitals. So I don't know where this guy is at mentally. Apparently he was talking on social media about drinking and wanting to be left alone and whatever all he's saying. But you're right. Someone is either extremely violent and debased, or they're mentally ill. Now, Michael Yon told us a long time ago, repeatedly, these people that are coming to the U.S., that have come to the Darien Gap, he's like, I'm in the Darien Gap, I'm watching them, I'm filming them, I'm interviewing some of them, I see some of them, they get their faces all tattooed. One guy had an AK-47 tattooed on the side of his face, and we showed his picture over and over. He said, Michael Yon said, folks, you don't understand. These people are coming to your country, and they are coming to rape and to kill you. They will just as soon kill you and rape you as your spouse or daughter as they had look at you. And I don't think Americans fully understand. If he had said, there are going to be illegal invaders that come here to set people on fire in major U.S. cities, to set them on fire, and then stand there and fan the flames while the cops do nothing and people record it, people would say, that's crazy. Nobody would do that. I thought the NYPD was supposed to be the best.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. And I want to follow up on this because this is a big topic. And I'm very passionate about this topic because it grates me, even though I appreciate when people say, well, I want to thank the law enforcement officers and the military. I want you to understand 80% of your military are gutless bastards. 80% of your police are gutless bastards. They don't do anything. They collect a paycheck. There's no difference between the Border Patrol, FBI, local PD, sheriffs, fire department, military than it is at Google. 20% do the job. The other 80% just suck. They just suck at their job. They have no passion. They do nothing. It's only 20% of us. So to follow up on what you said earlier, Brandon, if you think for a second you are safe because the police are going to come, you're an idiot. Let me just put the numbers out for you. 350 million people in America, 350 million. 660,000 police officers, state, local, and federal. I would tell you at least 75% to 80% are worthless. If they're not standing in front of you with a supervisor saying, put that fire out on that woman, know what they'll do? I'll walk away. You don't believe me? We just showed it to you. And I'm telling you, that's not an anomaly. It's not an anomaly. Men that did the job like me, we're the rarity. We're the ones that do all the work. So you take 660,000 officers and it's dwindling every day. No one wants to do the job. Why? Because America, you demonize the 20% of us that wanted to do the job. And you took the highest performing agents and officers and you made us do the average because no one wants to do the job anymore. We're just collecting the days are ticking by until I can get my retirement and then I'm out. Why? I'm not gonna catch myself on fire. For what? And I know I'm going to tell you what the police officers are thinking. It's going to tell you right now. You don't have to like it. It's one of two things. One is they're completely incompetent, which is I'm going to bet a lot of money on, or they've just had it. They've just had it. The probability of that young woman that got set on fire is a liberal. I'm not disparaging her. I'm just telling you. Most likely in New York City is a very, very hard left liberal that hates police officers. That officer knows it. He also knows that he's probably arrested that savage from Guatemala multiple times, and they just released him because of no bail. So you know what they do? They shrug their shoulders and go, yeah, my shift's over. Bye. And this is happening across America. So if you think you're safe, you're a fool.
So in other words, the cop in his head may be saying to himself, I tried telling my supervisors this was going to happen. I tried telling them this was going to happen.
Yeah, but even in my worst days in the Border Patrol, when I was led by the dumbest, gutless people you could ever imagine that just weaseled their way up into command structure, even then, I didn't need those morons to tell me how to do my job. If I saw someone on fire, I don't care if it was a savage that I was arresting, then I'd put the fire out. If there was somebody being hurt, I would go stop that person from hurting that person. If this is a very tough, right? This is a tough time because you have Daniel Penning that spent probably tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars, bankrupted himself to keep himself out of jail from strangling a 47-time arrested felon. And then people call him a racist. So you know what people like him and me and other guys are going to do? On your own, partner, have fun. I'm going to collect my wife and my son, and I'm going to move them out. If somebody comes near me, I'll kill them with my bare hands. That's how it's going to be. If you think that we're not this close to just complete anarchy in the streets, you're a fool.
Exactly
right.
You're
a fool.
And Gordon Chang has told our audience more than once, including last week, Americans have better prepare for no government for at least 6 months. I mean, he's saying tonight on Twitter, I don't know if I still have it here up or not, but he's saying on Twitter that everything, here we go, are the Chinese planning D-Day against us on our own soil? They have all the elements in place here, and they can see from our responses to recent events that we're not prepared. All that is missing is Xi Jinping's go signal. Okay, they take down the power grid. They hack the power grid. They bring it down. They start bombing. They start polluting the water, poisoning the water. Things that Gordon Chang and others have predicted, okay, over and over and over. What percentage of those 650,000 law enforcement actually show up to work? What percentage actually show up to work? 30%, 40, 50, half of them? Do half of them show up?
No. The only guys that will show up, they're guys that are on duty. That's just the truth. They're on duty. I'm not on duty. Oh, you're calling me? I can't hear you because you can't reach me. I'm taking care of my family.
And would you blame them? Would you blame them to leave their family unarmed, to leave their family, leave their house, knowing we're in anarchy, there's violence in the street? Would you blame that officer for leaving their family?
No, you just because you have castigated him and called him a racist and Nazi, and he has no loyalty to you. Why would he? Why would anyone? Why is no one joining law enforcement? Because you have demonized them, America, and they're men like me. And we're men with conscience and integrity, but we're also human, and we will respond slower than normal because you called me all these vile names. You have sued my buddies. You tried to put us in jail. So guess what? You're getting gang raped by TDA from Venezuela. Sorry. We'll get there when we get there, sweetheart. That's the truth, Brandon. This is the world we live in now. We live in a moral rot where everything's upside down. I know Trump's coming in. I know that Tom Homan's coming in. I know there's going to be change, but it ain't going to happen overnight.
That's
and
right.
If you think it's going to just be unicorns and rainbows, you're an idiot. There's going to be violent shit you can't even.
There's going to be
right
massive pushback, and we're going to get into it with Jason Pratt and Colonel Manus. But I'm telling you, all the signs are there that if China wants to strike, they'd be stupid not to do it the day of the inauguration, in between administrations and all the confusion and all the people that have already left Washington, the secretaries, the undersecretaries, the complete confusion. People don't even have the passwords to their computers yet. I mean, this is such a dangerous time. We already have such a government that is so corrupt, so bought off, so paid for by the CCP, and then the inept stupidity. I mean, it is a dangerous time. But you're right. You know that these gangs and the CCP are certainly going to push back. Some of these people will self-deport, okay? But don't you think the gangs, the red-green axis, the Marxists and the Islamists are going to use this as their excuse for urban warfare and fighting with Holman and his team and his people?
Absolutely, it's going to happen. You've already had people come out that are in the terrorist watch group type of people, like Sarah Adams that's on Sean Ryan's show, and then Gordon Chang. You have multiple attacks on us. You have foreign gangs, TDA, MS-13, Latin Kings, all that stuff, and all the internal gangs that we have, all those losers. We have all that we've imported by the millions. You have terrorists that we are now coming out and saying, yeah, there's at least 1,000, 1,500 Al-Qaeda terrorists, ISIS terrorists, everything you can imagine. Then you have reported tens of thousands of PLA soldiers in America, all because your government opened the borders intentionally and strategically and allowed the destruction of America to happen from within. Our government did this. Our government are traitors. Joe Biden, Mayorkas, Harris, I can go on and on, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. I can just keep going on till nauseum until I name everybody. But the point is, you have traitors in your own government that has done this to America. They have done it. And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker of all kickers. Nothing's going to happen to any of them.
Nope.
We can play this game of, Trump's going to come in and he's not going to do anything. Nothing. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. You are going to have people that have committed treason against America, and no one is going to pay a price.
I agree 100%. I agree. I agree with you 100%. Now, I want you guys to go to worldviewtube.com/JJ, right, Logan? worldviewtube.com/JJ. Sign up for the vault, and it helps helps support his show. So I'm giving out his URL tonight. Okay, worldviewtube.com/JJ, and he gets a percentage of every membership. So if you appreciate a guy that's got the guts to stand up, to say it the way it is, who's been there on the Border Patrol in a leadership position and is now saying what he's doing and producing the content he's producing to educate the people, then you can support our network and him at the same time by going to this custom URL that he'll get credit for, worldviewtube.com/JJ. He's got some special interviews in there with the woman that Dr. Engel, whose parents put her into the MK CIA program, MK Ultra program. It's in there. He interviewed her for 2 hours and 45 minutes. We've only released 30 minutes to the public. The rest is in there. You got to watch. He's got several other interviews that he's put up in there. And he's got more coming. So he's got a lot of stuff he's put up in there. worldviewtube.com/JJ. And JJ, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, but I also we're praying for our country and the innocent Americans That's what burns me up. The single moms, senior citizens, the World War II vets, the veterans of our military that have sacrificed so much, and the innocent Americans that will be the victims of all of this corruption by our politicians, all the way down to local law enforcement that have been corrupted by the politicians. That's what burns me up, is the innocent people. Closing comment?
Yeah, that bothers me too. But at the same time, there's no excuse for your ignorance anymore. Those days are gone. If you're going to be willfully ignorant and you're harmed because of this, that's on you. I'm not taking ownership. I'm not having any sorrow pity parties for you. We have been screaming at the top of our lungs for years.
Yep.
Now there's no excuse, because you can go on for free on internet and find anything you want. You have been willfully ignorant, or you just know it's happening and don't want to be bothered. Either way, I don't have any quarter for you. I don't. I think those days are gone. America, you have to pick a side. You have to pick a side. You want to be on the side that wants to mutilate children, have gender ideology, insanity, abort babies, kill people through euthanasia. You want to hate the police. You want crime. You want open borders. You want endless wars. Then go to that side. But if you want to be on the side that wants American prosperity, God, faith, family, then you come to our side. It's really that. There's never been a time in American history that the decision is so clear.
Brandon. That's right. It's black and white.
It's so clear. And if you don't want to decide what side to join, I'm going to warn you. History has showed the people that have been on the fence are the first ones that are devoured, because both sides hate you more than we hate each other.
That's true.
Because you're gutless.
Very well said.
That's the truth.
WorldViewTube.com/JJ. It's hard to say Merry Christmas after that.
I know, man. I know, but Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Because only God's going to save us, my friend. Only God.
I agree with that. JJ, thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
And folks, if you appreciate what we're doing, here you go, worldviewfoundation.com. Don't forget about us in your end of the year giving. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. You also find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. We're pushing out the 24/7 stream. Look, it cost me $40,000, right around $40,000. It's probably over that now. $40,000 a month to keep this network going. To push out a free 24/7 stream. And then we give you on-demand programming. You can come back and watch it if you missed it, or watch it again at worldviewtube.com. We also are trying to open our D.C. bureau with our D.C. reporter to cover the White House, Capitol Hill, Supreme Court, Pentagon. Okay? That's going to cost us about $150,000 a year to open that office with lodging and his honorarium. So again, we need a lot of support because we're trying to grow this network. Don't you want this network to grow? Well, I think one of the things we have to add is a DC bureau, so we can grow in credibility and news and information and content. WorldViewTube.com, WorldViewFoundation.com, WorldViewFoundation.com. It's vital we hear from you. WorldViewFoundation.com. Now, another way you can support us and help yourself is by doing what I do, and that's by taking Numi. I swish with it every day. It's loaded with glutathione. It's a powerful molecule to detox your cells. Some studies show glutathione may reduce mercury from your brain to help prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. Numi.com/house1. Numi.com/house1. Then go to twc.health/Brannon. Get your emergency medical kit. Should the power grid go down, disruption in just-in-time inventory, you're going to need meds. Look, you guys know about 6 weeks ago or so, I had walking pneumonia. I had a temperature of 103. Now, if I laid there thinking to myself, I feel like I'm literally dying. I feel like I have to go to the ER. This is so bad. This is getting worse. My wife took my temp. She's like, well, no wonder your temp is 103. She immediately put me on the amoxicillin from this medical kit. I had already been doing the ivermectin and the zinc. It wasn't touching it. I had to have an antibiotic. If the power grid is down, if your local pharmacy is down, you could very easily have a family member die, or yourself or your family member die from something you could easily get under control within a matter of a few hours with the right meds. This is not a luxury. This is serious. I have like 5 or 6 of the wellness company, the blue kits. I have the medical kits. I have like 5 or 6 of these. Okay, and this is the contagion kit for the bird flu, including the personal nebulizer. twc.health/Brannon. They also have memberships. You can check out all the memberships where you can get actually free prescriptions, pharmacy coaching, and free supplements. You can do virtual care with a doctor. twc.health/Brandon, twc.health/Brandon. These are all ways you can support us and yourself at the same time. Thank you for that. All right, joining me now is Colonel Rob Maness. Colonel, welcome back to the broadcast. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Brandon. It's good to be with you.
Thank you. Great to have you with us. Oh, by the way, we got to talk a little bit about what just happened with the shoot down of some of our planes. I mean, there's conflicting reports. Jason Pratt, who was a fighter pilot, is going to join us here in a little bit as well, talk about it. But I don't know what all went on, but I want to get your take on it. But first, you just spoke at AmFest in Arizona. I didn't know you were speaking there.
Yeah, I got the chance to speak. My pack, Gator Pac, became a sponsor late in the game there in the preparation to go, and I got a 5-minute spot on the main stage just before Harmeet Dillon and General Flynn.
Well, good. I want to see a little bit of it. Let's do that. Let's roll some of this, please, Logan.
Victory sweet. You darn right it is. Well, I'm retired Colonel Rob Maness from Gulfport, Mississippi, and I'm the founder and chairman of a PAC called Gator Pac and its Veterans Leadership Fund. And why I am so happy to be here, because this is the first AmFest that I've been able to get to as long as Charlie's been doing this stuff. And I've been supporting Charlie Kirk since we both entered politics at around the same time, over a decade ago. And neither one of us thought we were going to be in politics. But we had to. We had to enter the arena, because our country's constitutional republic was being stripped away from us. And we're very fortunate, and I want to thank Charlie and Turning Point for this organization that has been created, because it's an ecosystem of ground game for Republican, America First, MAGA candidates. And it's going to take us into the future. And this, Arizona, is the heart of MAGA country. You all know that, don't you? Of course you do. And I have to give a shout out to Gator Pac's endorsed state Senate candidates, Mark Fincham and Wendy Rogers. Wendy's a veteran, and that's one of the things Gator Pac does, is support veteran candidates that are America First and recruits America First civilian candidates. And that's why we endorsed and supported Donald J. Trump. And that is the other person we should all be thanking. Thank you, President Trump, for winning. Thank you, President Trump, for having the courage to stand in the breach for us. Thank you, President Trump, for when the chips were down and you were shot in the head, you stood back up, and what did you say? Fight. Fight. Can't you say fight for that man one more time? Thank you. Well, I just want to tell you a little bit about our involvement in the election year this year from Gator Pac and our Veterans Leadership Fund. My friend Cliff Maloney, who you heard from just a minute ago, he called me last year and he explained what Charlie and Turning Point and the Pennsylvania Chase organizations were going to do in the swing states with ground game. And see, I had run for office before, and ground game in the Republican Party has not been that great. And I trusted Cliff because he's won hundreds of elections in state houses by knocking on doors. And he said, Rob, I'm going to knock on 500,000 doors in Pennsylvania. And Charlie and I think Pennsylvania is going to put the president back in the White House. Thank God Charlie Kirk and Cliff Maloney were right. And that's why Gator Pac's largest expenditure in the 2024 election cycle was to that ground game for Turning Point Action and Pennsylvania Chase. Thank you. Thank you for letting us do that to help you. Thank you for volunteering and working in those organizations in those swing states, because, as Cliff said earlier, when Pennsylvania was finally called after much delay, because the media didn't like it, what happened? The president was announced going to be the next president of the United States within 3 minutes by Fox News. But that victory was only a battlefield victory, folks. Donald Trump's got one term, and we're going to work real hard, but the long war is from here and forevermore to preserve this constitutional republic for your kids. You're 20-something. Your kids and grandkids, you're working for them right now. But in between that, let's make sure we give Donald Trump the cabinet he wants, right? That's a great great motto. It just made me smile. And Gator Pac has pledged to support any operations to remove any red state senators that disrupt or obstruct those confirmations. Gator Pac has pledged to support MAGA and America First candidates and veteran America First and MAGA candidates in the 2026 election cycle. Our goal is to raise millions of dollars to get those candidates in to replace the crooks that just yesterday you saw, the swamp creature crooks, try to take money out of your pockets one more time, and they lost again. It's time to fix that. So if you want to be part of Gator Pac, in addition to the ground game ecosystem that Charlie Kirk and people like Cliff Maloney have created now, which we need to make permanent, as Cliff said, and you want to be part of reclaiming our constitutional republic and preserving liberty and prosperity and security for future generations, come help us out at Gator Pac at GatorPac.com after you give a donation to Turning Point USA. I'm Rob Maness. Thank you very much.
Great job, Colonel. Great job. All right. Tell me what you learned. What did you hear? What was the feeling on the ground? What do you think the base? Because that's the base right there. A lot of them are young Americans. What do you think you learned from mingling with them and talking to them?
The interesting thing is that it is the base, and most of that audience, about 65% of them, were under age 25 Americans that have been energized by Turning Point USA. And somebody else energized by Donald J. Trump. The numbers showed that in the numbers of votes that he got from the under 35 demographic. They've walked away in large part from the left and increased to a 13% share of that vote, which we'd never been able to get away with before. And there's one reason for that, because the policies of America First, Brandon, are about border security, energy dominance, stopping the endless war policies. Those are the policies that I ran on in 2014, my first U.S. Senate run, and we did fantastic. If we had just been able to raise a little more money and have less establishment Republican donors and less establishment Republicans, we would have won then, because Trump won on those same issues just a year later.
Well, we've been infiltrated.
Young people, those are their issues.
Yeah, well, as you're saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what it sounds like you're saying is, sadly, the RNC and many of these groups at the local level, state level, have been infiltrated by imposters. I think we have a lot of Democrats that have infiltrated the Republican Party, but they're not Republicans. They don't. It's just like in South Dakota. The former Speaker of the House in South Dakota, Steve Haggard, has told me on the air that in South Dakota, if you want to win an election, you got to run as a Democrat. So Republicans run. They say they're Republicans, but they're Democrats because they know they can't win as Democrats largely. So they largely run as Republicans. Not in all cases, but he said you got a lot of Democrats running as Republicans because that's the only way they can win. We have allowed, we need some kind of test, some kind of authenticity test for some of these people, whether they run for office or hold positions at the local or state level. There's got to be some authenticity test. If these people don't have the right worldview of a constitutional republic, they're not qualified. We need to have a vetting process, like a committee that vets these people for positions moving into the RNC. True or false?
Oh, yeah. We do have those committee, that infrastructure. I live here in southern Mississippi, and we have what's called municipal executive committees that are supposed to vet candidates for municipal campaigns and elected office, and then GOP executive committees, which I'm a member of here in Harrison County, Mississippi, and we vet candidates for the primaries across the board from state, local, and federal elections outside of the municipal ones. The problem is that a lot of the slots go unfilled, and we're still across the South, I would say, at least in the two southern states that I have the most experience in, my own here in Mississippi and then Louisiana, my last state where I ran for the U.S. Senate. Those states were the last to convert from Democrat to Republican in the huge wave that not Donald Trump, but Ronald Reagan really created this bow wave and wake as he came through the system that resulted in a lot of conversions. So there are still a lot of people that do exactly what you're talking about. They know they can't win most of the time as Democrats, so they become Republicans. What we've seen down here recently, though, and this is a warning for people to watch out for, is instead of becoming Republicans, these people will become what they call independents and try to bring out themselves as populists, as independents, to try to push back against the establishment Republicans that don't like the populism and grab those votes away from the Republican candidates. And trust me, folks, at least in my neck of the woods down here, they're Democrats. The last one we saw tried to take the county clerk's office. And as you know, that's the county clerk has all the power when it comes to running the elections. And in Mississippi's case, they're the only ones that have the responsibility and the power under our law here in the state to clean the voter rolls. The Secretary of State doesn't even have that power in our state. So the Democrats were really literally trying to take that spot. The other thing that we've seen, and you should look out for these kind of indicators in your own counties and cities and villages and municipal areas, folks, and that is the Democrats recently started advertising for activist jobs right here in my city in Gulfport, Mississippi, which is a red city right now, because they have a project to take Mississippi, starting with all the cities outside of Jackson, which we know they own, and they can't even keep clean water running in that city, and they've been in control there for over 50 years. So that's how bad it'll get, folks, if we allow this to happen. But they're out there. The jobs are being advertised. I saw a job ad that got fed to me by Indeed, which I'm a subscriber to, about a obviously leftist progressive organization recruiting folks to work in elections and door knock and canvass, and it's a leftist operation right here in Gulfport, Mississippi. We know that we're a target now.
Wow. Let's switch real quick to the Red Sea. Central Command says U.S. ship accidentally shoots down U.S. fighter jet over Red Sea. Now there are conflicting reports on this one, but at least Central Command seems to be taking responsibility for this. I mean, so was it really friendly fire? What do you know?
Well, from what I can tell, it is. It's difficult to get information out quickly after one of those incidents in an area in an operation like that, because everything is classified so much these days. But let me just say this, Brandon. In my experience, there had to be 50 or 100 bad decisions and errors made for this type of shoot down to occur with today's technology under today's system. Look, even under systems that are non-digital that I flew in my early days of flying, you don't even have to have a working transponder to have properly conducted what we call safe passage procedures that are given to the air crew and given to the defenders, and everybody, it makes everybody on the same page. So it's inexcusable that this aircraft could not be identified by the USS Gettysburg, resulting in this shoot down. We're lucky we didn't lose two highly valuable, highly trained airmen off of that F-18, because that is hard to replace. We can replace the aircraft, but it's very difficult and takes much longer to replace the individuals on that. So we're very, very fortunate. But it's not just a tragedy. It's got to be looked at very closely. One of the things that surprises me is that generally the chain of command gets fired or stood down and replaced very quickly with something like this, especially in combat, and we haven't seen that happen yet. Why is that? Is it because it's a white female commander in charge of the USS Gettysburg? Why were these mistakes made? The question about, was the aircrew properly operating their transponder system and squawking the right wartime codes? Were they flying safe passage procedures in case they were radio and transponder out? Was the ship's defense crew and the CIC, the Combat Information Center leadership, informed of of this unknown aircraft, this bogey coming in? And were they asking those questions? Are they flying the safe passage procedures? Who is airborne right now? Where are they at? Are they off target? Because all of that information is known even without radio transmissions or transponder transmissions. And the CIC should have been tracking on that.
All right, before we let you go, China's just ordered up a ton of drones, I guess, right? Are we gonna see a conflict with China over Taiwan sooner rather than later?
Well, I think if we do, it'll probably be sooner, more than likely, if it gets done before January 20th. And once we get past January 20th, if President Trump's inaugurated on time and without too much vitriol and no violence, then it'll be much later because the Chinese will reassess where they're at. But if they ever do it, these drones, let's think about this. You know, the Chinese I was on David Webb's show on Sirius XM Patriot this morning, and we were talking about how the Chinese are in our telecom systems. Look, they know what my IP address is on my computer and who I am, and it's married up to me based on them being inside all of our systems. They're not just in TikTok using that information to target people. They're in every system. It doesn't matter whether it's the internet, CNN, cable broadcasting, over the web, all of those things. If we can see my IP address and feed me a TV ad during a political campaign, the Chinese can see that, and they've collected all that information. So imagine this, Brandon, 5 million of these drones targeted on military and political leaders in the United States, both that are on active service and retired, and how that would affect the United States of America and its ability to respond to any type of kinetic operation.
So in other words, you're talking
to take Taiwan.
You're talking about sending drones directly to your coordinates or any other leader or conservative broadcaster they want taken out. Send 500,000 drones over the border, because we know the close relationship between Mexico and CCP. We've been talking about it.
Why over the border? Why over the border? There are literally hundreds of Chinese-owned farms near military installations.
True.
Why over the border? Heck, John Mills and I were just talking on my show how they're probably launching those drones. They may be coming off ships, but they're more likely coming off of land-launched areas, and you could launch those from those farms that are close to those military installations and be striking targets before anybody even knows it.
Yeah, and of course, one would think that if they're going to do something, they would do it before the 20th of January, right?
Or maybe even right at 11:59 on January 20th.
Can you imagine the confusion? I mean, you were in the that sensitive area of the Pentagon. You helped write the manual for the nuclear football. Can you imagine the confusion on Election Day? Because you have all of these secretaries of the different divisions and agencies that they've already left town. Many of them, they've already got their deal written in their contract for the next company they're working for, or the boards are going on. They're gone. Many of their undersecretaries are gone. I mean, you want to talk about the weakest point? That would have to be that point. Did you guys ever run tabletop exercises as to what an attack on Inauguration Day would look like with this, fact that you've got people who aren't in the office yet, haven't even got their computer, haven't got their passwords, haven't got their appointment. I mean, you got all of Trump's cabinet that, is not going to be approved yet. Congress is not in recess, but they're right there on Capitol Hill. So he can't make recess appointments. So did you guys ever run a tabletop exercise of, hey, this is what would look like for an attack on Election Day? I mean, on Inauguration Day?
All the time. And there are existing tabletop exercise reports out there for things like Y2K. I was a young major on the Pentagon staff in the run up to Y2K and was part of the team on watch throughout that whole period of time when the clock was rolling over to the year 2000 and responsible for monitoring and implementing all the planning that had been into that. But of course, we did exercises, tabletop exercises, to try to figure out exactly what our systems were going to do. And we were so good at it, it turned into a non-event from an American and a national defense perspective. So yes, they should be doing that. Although with the competence level that we're seeing right now and the readiness level we're seeing right now, I really question as to whether we're preparing properly.
But if you have a White House that's basically been bought and paid for by the CCP, then they're obviously, why would they prepare? I mean, everything that Biden has done, what would you do differently if you weren't a paid Manchurian candidate? What would you do differently? I can't think of anything. So if this is what you are, right? If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. If this is what Biden and his team are, and you got Anita Dunn, who said, one of her mentors, one of the people she looks to is Mother Teresa, Mao Zedong. We have her on video saying this. These people are demented, in my opinion. But what would you do? You think you would prepare? No. So again, I'm not saying anything's going to happen on the 20th of January, but just think and maybe express to us right off the top of your head, what kind of confusion would you be looking at in the federal government if something were to happen at 12:59?
Absolute pandemonium and confusion, much worse than what happened on 9/11 when we didn't really adequately prepare for the nation and the military to be running our global nuclear war game, where we actually go beyond just do simulation and move parts around and people around and aircraft and ships around. We weren't ready for an attack on us while we were kicking that off, and that's what happened. We had to work our way through it. We were very fortunate to be able to get there. And no, I wouldn't do anything different at all if I were a Chinese asset in the presidency or a set of controlled assets that are controlling a president of the United States. It's also a Chinese asset, because there's more than just Joe Biden. As we know, he's not the one really pulling the strings right now. He's not capable of doing that. So absolutely not. And it will be utter chaos. But think about this. What we were talking about today, there's a group of us, the Committee on Present Danger of China, we're very concerned that the conditions are set. Our adversaries domestically have been very quiet. The Democrats, the BLM, Antifa, paramilitary arm of the Democrat progressives, all have been very quiet. When you combine that with all these Chinese military-age males, these jihadists that have come in by the thousands into this country, the Chinese ability to be in our networks and our telecom and actually know the position, what the geographical location of somebody like me at any given time, just using me as an example, the chaos that would want to be started may even come before that internally inside the United States. So there's all kinds of crazy things and violence going on leading up to the 20th in an attempt to delay or even stop Donald Trump's inauguration. We think that's a very real possibility when you look at all these pieces of facts coming together.
Well, Jean-Pierre seemed to even hint at the press briefing the other day that if the government can't stay open, it may delay the transition. And I played that on the air the other day, and I said, if these people are saying that not passing a continuing resolution may delay the swearing in of Donald Trump, what do they think a terrorist attack on the country would do, right? So, in other words, if the fact that you don't have a continuing resolution done may delay Donald Trump raising his hand and taking the oath, are you serious? I mean, what's it take to get the Chief Justice over there and do this in a room if you have to, right? Done, right? If that's going to delay it, are they not predictive programming to prepare the media and the minds of Americans for, well, what if something really serious happened, like what we're talking about? So to me, that was almost a telegraphing that if they're willing to delay the swearing in of Donald Trump over something that small, well, what wouldn't they do over something big?
Yeah, there's a real danger and risk that this is going to happen. I mean, look at this. Every day, the Trump administration, President Trump himself, give them another reason to try to want to stop him from taking this office. He started a effort yesterday. He says the United States should be controlling the Panama Canal. We built it. We paid for it. We spent lives on it. It was a dumb idea for Jimmy Carter and the Democrats to just give it away. And now the Chinese absolutely control it. The most important, vital choke point for the supply chain and logistics for the United States to be able to fight and win a war if challenged like the Japanese challenged us on December 7th, 1941, is that Panama Canal. And they own it. They control it absolutely. and it's time for us to take it back. And that's why we're saying the risk is very high, that the chaos is going to increase. It's probably going to turn to violence. And all of these indicators and all of these capabilities that you and me and John Mills and folks like us have been talking about, that we're seeing pieces and parts of: drones flying over Langley Air Force Base, drones flying over the Newport News Shipbuilding Yard, drones flying over the Utah Test and Training Range Base at Hill Air Force Base, Utah, our ICBM and missile and rocket testing base out at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Chinese individuals trying to gain access to military bases, driving right through the gates, walking through the gates, trying to say, hey, we've got an appointment here, when they're Chinese nationals. We've arrested some of these people, and we still know about it. And then you have the jihadis, and then you have the digital and electronic capability, and also all of this farmland near military installations. There are hundreds of them, Brandon, and they're all potential places of what? They're bases for these hundreds of thousands of Chinese military-age males that have come through the southern border, and these tens of thousands of jihadis that have come through the southern border. And we know the Islamists and the CCP work together because they work together to generate these crazy anti-Jewish and anti-Israel protests at all of our campuses over the last year.
100%. Look at this before we go to Jason Pratt. Are the Chinese planning a D-Day against us on our own soil? Asked Gordon Chang. They have all the elements in place here, and I think Colonel Manus just laid them out. And they see from our responses to recent events, we're not prepared. All that is missing is Xi Jinping's go signal. I think he's 100% right. If you want to follow Colonel Manus, we can find his X account here. Here it is. At Rob Manus, You can follow him on X right now. And of course, his daily show is at worldviewtube.com, worldviewtube, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Anything else you want to say?
Well, just if you see something, say something. 85% of the sheriffs in this country are constitutional sheriffs. That's about 2,800 or a little bit more than that of the 3,400 plus sheriffs in the counties of the United States of America. And that means they can be trusted to take your report and actually do something about it, and not come roll you up as some kind of conspiracy theorist like some of these other authorities want to do, like the FBI. So please see something, say something, and coordinate with your neighbors in your community to be able to defend yourselves.
Indeed. RobManus.com. RobManus.com. As always, thank you, Colonel, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Brandon, and congratulations on the new grandbaby.
Thank you. We had a great time. We got some video footage of her sitting on the lap of the Grinch this weekend. We're going to be playing pretty soon here. We took her to see the Grinch, and it was pretty hilarious. So we'll show you that in a little bit, guys. Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right, we're going to be joined here in just 1 second by Jason Pratt. You got that footage, right, Logan, of the Grinch? All right, he's going to get that ready. And in the meantime, take a look at this. We'll go to Jason Pratt. Here we go. Medical grade phytoplankton, or photoplankton, depending on how you want to say it. The equivalent of 90 billion plant cells in one scoop. I drink it every day, as you guys well know. You see me take it here at the desk almost every night. It hasn't been brought into me yet, but I do take it. And folks, it is loaded with a lot of the ingredients and nutrients and vitamins you need each and every day. What does it include? 47% protein, this little drink. 47% protein. By the way, there are 5 clinical trials behind it. And we, as we get older, need more protein to keep our muscle mass up, folks. It also has omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids, trace minerals, all your amino acids, vitamins like B6, C, D, K, zinc, fiber, magnesium, calcium, beta-carotene. We got copper, we got zinc, and a lot more. And it also has 5 trace minerals that are excellent for your fur baby. Speaking of fur baby, is the dolly cam on tonight, Logan? Oh, I just saw the green light go on when I said that, so that means it is on. So let's see if he can turn the dolly cam. It's a remote control cam. Woo! Let's get a shot on the dolly cam of Dolly. There you go. We got to put the MyPillow pet bed cover back on her. We took it off to wash it, which we really need to put that back on. She's laying on top of it. We've been kind of busy. But that's her. That's her laying there, taking a nap in her MyPillow pet bed. But I give her the Gatatana every day. Sprinkle half a scoop on her food. She gets half a scoop, okay, of the regular Gatatana for pets. And we see Binks, the cat here, had a had a tumor in the eye, got on Gatatana, no tumor. So this is great for your pet. There are 5 trace minerals in here that are excellent for your pet as well. So again, you can take it. You take a scoop a day. I mix a scoop a day. It's a very little bitty scoop, very little scoop. You do a scoop, and then your pet can do half a scoop. Full details there at melissahousegpa.com. That stands for Global Phytoplankton Alliance. melissahousegpa.com. Now, of course, I take each and every day, I take my Bella Grace, and here it is right here. Bella Grace, all right? Right now, they got a big sale going on. No, I take that back. Wrong. No sale. It is now the permanent price. We're done with sales. That's the whole point of them now going to $99 a month. It was $121.50, $121.50 a month. Now it is $99 a month. Flat price. That's where it's going to stay, and no more specials. The only special they have right now is if you have never subscribed, you can sign up for a subscription for $99, and you're going to get a second box for free. But after December, that's done. And anybody that's on a subscription like Melissa and I are, it will go to $99 automatically for us in January. So January, we're now no longer paying $121.50 a month. We're all going to be paying $99, okay? But if you have never gotten a subscription and you want one, go to melissahousebg.com, get a subscription. You'll get your initial box and then a second box for free as a new subscriber, okay? Loaded with 3 powerful ingredients. Collagen with the peptides cut short so your body actually absorbs it. Cat's claw, that's an anti-inflammatory from a bark on a vine in Peru to take down your inflammation. A lot of our problems are inflammation related. And then astaxanthin, that is loaded with antioxidants, crosses the brain-blood barrier, has 80 clinical trials behind it, folks. And again, Melissa